Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So today I will be talking about Pork by Cris Freddi. So the Two Book Nerds challenge for February is a book from an animal POV, and I chose pork specifically not just because it fits the criteria but also because of the title. I thought it was interesting, a book called Pork, and me being a halal person, I'm like, okay, fine. However, sorry to disappoint, the fact that the book is called Pork, this book remains pork-free. Actually, the title Pork refers to one of the characters in this book. Pork is actually a collection of animal short stories for adults. Now, if you want to read this book to your kids, then I highly suggest against it because the stories gets really dark. So be prepared to be shocked and also feeling a bit sad for these animals. It's definitely not your typical Aesop fables. You don't get a story where Sang Kancil tricks the crocodiles or something. You're not gonna get that. This is a story where animals die, animals get revenge, animals also know as remorse, and where animals experience cruelty by other animals, and there's really a certain bleak aura to this. However, I can tell you with absolute positivity that this book is well written. I like how each story and we put into the perspective of different animals, and it is written in such a mature and vivid way. I really felt like I was an animal. Well, I think you get what I mean. The book is actually really short. It took me like an hour or something to read this, and I got this one on Kindle. I'm not going to talk about every single story in here. I'm just going to talk about some of the notable stories that I liked and that I felt had the most profound effect on me. So I'm going to start with the title story. The story Pork is a very simple one actually. It's just about a hedgehog. He's supposed to be in hibernation, but then he's just like wake up, and then he finds himself in a sticky situation. He's being, or I should say, harassed by a couple of badgers. After he managed to escape badgers, he just wanders around, and then he got hit by a car. Yeah, Pork died. And I was like, what? So yeah, from the first story, you get the sense that this is not a sweet, happy-go-lucky, not even Bambi is this depressing. Like, it is just, it happens so suddenly. You know, like when you're driving a car and you didn't notice that you might hit a mouse or a rat or a cat or a puppy. I think that I might have hit an animal, but maybe I didn't realize it. So yeah, don't read this to your children if you ever think of wanting to. The next story that I want to highlight is about a bat called Reg. This is probably one of the more tragic ones in this whole collection. So the story starts with a somewhat friendly conversation between Reg the bat and Kayak the otter. The otter, yeah. As the conversation progresses, we discover that, oh, Reg recently lost his wife, called number 2. I don't even know why the wife is called number 2, but okay. And then he told his friend about it. You know, bats are blind, right? So as it turns out, like the cave that Reg is in there's a river underneath it and the water is rising. So Otter said, hey, I'm getting closer to you, I'm floating. And Kayak slowly reveals that it was him, that he was the one that eats number 2. And then we got another reveal that it turns out Reg already knew that, but he wasn't so sure. When Kayak confessed, he's like, well, now that I know you do it, I am going to go ahead and kill your babies. But then this caused like Kayak to beg Reg not to kill his babies. And then like at that moment, Kayak ended up falling to his death. And he realized that, well, it doesn't bring his wife back. So he turns around and he just leaves the babies alone. Personally, I really am pleased with how it ends with Kayak, but it's still very heartbreaking for Reg, especially considering now I'm a full-on Batman stan.
I'm vengeance.
This one is one of the more depressing one. But if you think that's not depressing, there's another one that is a mix of depressing and, disturbing. The last story that I'm gonna highlight is a story about a bird. And if you have watched that one movie with Jesse Eisenberg in it, I don't remember what's the title, I'm just gonna put it right here. If you watch that movie, I'm pretty sure that you can figure out what exactly is the story referring to. The story is about a bird named Gob. A bird replaced one of Gob's eggs with her own eggs, so that when Gob returns home to her nest, and then she doesn't notice that that one egg is actually not hers. This is actually a real natural occurrence of the cuckoo birds. So the cuckoo birds is this type of bird that would replace another bird's eggs with her egg, and then that bird will raise her eggs as her own whilst killing the other bird's other babies. Raising a cuckoo bird is very taxing for the other birds, and the story actually depicts it, and it's very tragic and kind of disturbing, and really a reminder that, you know, you think sharks are scary, you think like killer whales are scary. Cuckoo birds are straight up savage. I think you can watch like Casual Geographics, if I'm not mistaken, make videos on cuckoo birds. If you want to know more about cuckoo birds, I think you can just head straight to his YouTube channel.
This bird might legitimately be one of the worst mothers out there. It all starts when a mother common cuckoo gets ready to lay her egg in a nest. Typical bird behavior. Except that's not her nest. The mother cuckoo will lay her egg in the nest of another bird like a reed warbler and then cover her tracks by stealing and destroying one of the originals. Which means the clueless warbler ends up incubating a future criminal. Because in what I can only describe as malicious design, the cuckoo egg will hatch days before the rest of the clutch does. Because even though the cuckoo chick is blind, featherless, and only a day old, it's somehow strong enough to lift an egg almost as big as itself and yeet it out of the nest and turn it into a Denny's breakfast special on the ground. And there's a good chance he does it right in front of the foster mother. According to researchers, host parents that refused to feed the cuckoo chick ended up getting their home nest completely vandalized by the cuckoo mafia, and yes, I'm being 100% serious. And if the warbler recognizes the imposter egg and removes it before it can hatch, there's a good chance the mother cuckoo will stop by and butcher the entire nursery. So now the poor warbler is forced to take care of a chick that not only isn't hers, but was probably the one that Ted Bundy'd her actual children. Not to mention the cuckoo chicken grows several times larger than the host parent, meaning the mother bird literally breaks her back trying to feed it.
Gob doesn't realize that one of her eggs is replaced with a cuckoo bird's eggs. And then once the cuckoo bird's egg hatched, the cuckoo killed all of the other eggs. And then Gob came home, the other eggs gone. So she's like, that's the only baby I have left. So she raised the cuckoo birds without knowing that's not hers. And the cuckoo bird is extremely demanding. Not only that the cuckoo refused to fly, but also that it only eats like a certain type of food, a certain type of worm. I think it was caterpillar or something. And it was very taxing for Gob to raise this bird that she thought was hers. Until karma comes, thankfully, in a form of, I think, a predatory bird. God was like, please keep quiet. It's very dangerous here. Someone's out there gonna eat us. But no. So Gob ended up flying away, and then she urged like her child to fly, but because the cuckoo bird never wanted to learn how to fly and never tried to, the bird ended up falling to its death. For the first time, I have absolutely zero sympathy of a small animal. It's a parasitic bird. So yeah, that is the 3 story that I wanted to highlight on pork. Would I recommend this story? Absolutely. Despite its tone, I think that there's some pearls of wisdom over here that you can learn, and that it allows us to see through the eyes of these animals. They don't possess the same capacity as us, but they certainly have feelings. They certainly know the meanings of survival. Actually, when you read these kind of stories, you realize that sometimes we do things to the extremes for survival. Does it excuse some of the bad shit things that human does? No, absolutely not. But is it understandable? But can you find it in your heart to forgive a person that kills you for survival? I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not trying to humanize it or anything. I'm just saying that nature can be very cruel, can be very shitty. There will always be this innate part of us as human beings, despite years of cultural progression, despite years of development. Some of us still surrender to that deep-seated nature inside of us, and that we're no different than animals. What makes us different is how we control that and how we try as best as we can to achieve the best possible solution. There are people out there that are worse than animals, and you can't help but feel sorry and feel like there's just some things that are a bit messed up in that sense, in that narrative. But at the same time, I thoroughly enjoy pork. If you want to go into animal POV, but you want to go a bit dark and possibly even a bit realistic, then yeah, pork is for you. It's a very short read. You can finish it in like 1 hour or something, but be prepared to be blindsided. That's all that I have to say about pork. This, again, I would like to reiterate, this is my choice for 2 Book Nerds Talking Challenge for Animal POV. If you want to read this, go for it. You can find it on Kindle. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.